I have hiccups. I'm going to try this in voice bubble because we're having technical difficulties. But so I wanted to kind of go over a little bit of 2 layers of at-home tugging. One of them is going to be the get the feet game that I made, and then the other one is going to be a little bit more on muzzle grab. But essentially, when you're tugging with your dog, I made a lot of mistakes with Kiba, and she kind of became passive, and then I sapped all the joy out of tug. And why that kind of ended up happening is because she wasn't always active, and so I would start bouncing her around side to side, back and forth, doing spins, all of that stuff. And she just went from being interactive somewhat to passive, and then she was just holding on, and then she just didn't want to play anymore. And so I would imagine it's something like, somebody is teaching you how to play basketball, and they give you the ball, and they just have you hold it. And the first time you hold it, it's probably really exciting, but you very quickly learn that holding it is just no fun. So we want the dog to be the one putting all the energy into it. And so there's 2 things that you can kind of do to get that started, especially if you've already made some of those same mistakes that I made. And so one of the ones that I made was get the feet. Now, originally, this Trico was already tugging. This was a layer that came later that I found was useful with other dogs that are passive or people that are new to tug. So in Mondio, you'll see a lot of the decoys haunch over while the dog's on the leg sleeve, and they're looming over them and they're grabbing at their feet and or over their tummy. I don't know if I think they grab the feet. I don't know. I've watched a lot of videos, but anyways, and the dog honestly is just, their feet are almost floating back and forth dodging him, but they're having so much fun. And so I was thinking about how cool that would be to make it like a fun layer to prep for Mondio Ring, but I didn't really know how to start it. Then I was watching some lessons with Ivan Balbanov, and he was pretty rude about it, not gonna lie. So there was I think it was a Jermaine Madang, maybe it was a Malinois, but anyways, there was the trainer in his demo didn't know how to tug with his dog, and he had now created a passive dog. And so to troubleshoot it, Yvonne got the dog to at least bite the ball one more time, and then he stepped on his foot, and when the dog jerked back, Yvonne rewarded that, and then he shaped the dog essentially to tug from there. So he just irritated the dog till the dog responded. Sorry, I'm going to talk over this weed whacker. And then when the dog responded, he rewarded it. And I'm like, well, I could probably do this a little bit different. We can just tweak this a little bit, but the idea might be worth it. So essentially, I would grab at Trico's side of the feet, which he immediately took to. He was really excited about that. He thought that was just a fun extension to Smack Baby. And it was just cake, right? So with Kiba, she just didn't care. And so I had to work really hard to get any response out of it because, I don't know, man, probably because I just always have hands on my dogs every single day for massages, pedicure, please, checking for injuries. I mean, I just always have hands on them all the time, brushing. Oh yeah, I already said that. Anyways, so she just didn't care. It didn't faze her. She was just on the toy doing her eviscerate thing that she do. And so it's kind of, so anyways, my point is that you start out really small. See, you hold your arm kind of still while your other free arm is doing, you work up through Smack a Baby so that the dog is comfortable with you touching them, and once they're comfortable with you touching them, don't be rude like the original idea that I saw with it, but you can grow up like the get the feet game, right? And then once they're having fun with it, like Trico does in his videos where his chest is kind of floating and he's dodging his feet side to side and he's growling and he's really into it, because it really just became an extension of Smack a Baby, and I mean, he loves it. And even Nemo, if you watch Anna and Nemo, he has one front leg and she still messes with it, and he just growls like crazy now. But he's into it. And you don't have to worry about pedicure please, because both Nemo and Trico are fantastic with pedicure please. It doesn't affect it. It doesn't. So, you don't have to worry about that. So anyways, like, remember, Trico would lay down for 40 minutes while I did stuff with his broken leg, and this is completely separate from when we do get the feet. Okay, so if they move back when you're playing with their feet, then reward it. Reward their energy, reward their effort, and however the dog finds rewarding. And then it's kind of, once you get to that point, you can kind of like build it up and kind of stand ogrely over them and have your hand in like a little claw. And it gets really exciting, and you're like, oh, I'm going to get those feeties, and that just amps them up more. And so that's kind of ways that like you can still interact with your dog tugging, but just make sure that like you're not bouncing the dog everywhere. You're doing it like in a smack a baby way. And then the other thing is like muzzle grab. Muzzle grab is kind of the same thing. So maybe you see in videos with me and Evie, since she's really insecure tugging with me, for the muzzle grab, if I hold my hand just above her face, and I'm like creeping in, she gets excited, she gives me a growl, and then before I even touch her mouth, I'll let her have it. Because like for her, she usually, I'll let her win it, and then she'll either drive it back into my hand for some tug, or she'll drive it back into Alex's hand if he's on the field and tug with him. And so, but anyways, and so you can kind of gauge where your dog is at with it, but like essentially like, you'd be really, really, I've got my claw coming in, and then as soon as the dog like does some kind of response, you reward it and you build up from there. And so those are a couple of ways you can kind of get your dog to be more into it, more active, without you bouncing them around and just having them hold the basketball, right? So that's going to help set everything up really nicely, because it's going to be so much more fun for the dog because they actually are participating and not just holding the basketball.